store.
Okay, so if you're involved in retail, maybe wholesale distribution, or you run an e-commerce site, there's this huge event looming, the World Cup 2026.
Mm-hmm. Huge opportunity, but honestly, also kind of a nightmare scenario.
It really is. It's the definition of high stakes, super tight window. And we're not just talking, beer and jerseys today. No, we're diving deep into something much more specific and maybe even trickier. Specialty fan souvenirs and gifts, right? The things people actually buy beyond the obvious stuff.
And the big problem, which our source material really lays bare, is just saturation. Everything looks the same.
Generic stuff everywhere.
Exactly. Fans grab something, maybe it's cool for a week during the tournament, then boom drawer, or worse, the bin.
But you found someone who's kind of cracked this, someone who figured out how to make souvenirs people actually want to keep?
We did. Our insights are coming straight from Annie Zhang. She's the CEO of Sweetie Gifts, and she's got like 20 years in the global flower gifts industry. US, Europe, Asia. She knows the markets. And crucially, she has this deep, deep understanding of the Chinese supply chain.
Which is obviously key for manufacturing these kinds of items.
Absolutely. And she gets that the real goal isn't just, selling a product. It's solving that massive fear retailers have.
The fear of being stuck with piles of unsold stuff once the final whistle blows.
Precisely. So our mission today, unpack her strategy, figure out how she developed these unique souvenirs that fans actually hold on to, how to beat the competition and ditch that overstocking risk.
It's fascinating because that short time frame, just a few months around the World Cup,
Yeah.
it really dials up the pressure, doesn't it?
Oh, massively. You miss that window, that's it. Game over for that inventory.
So let's get specific. For the retailers listening, what are those big, scary risks when buying World Cup stock? Well, the source material points to four main worries. Number one, we've kind of touched on, ordering way, way too much. Catastrophic over-ordering. You bet wrong on a team or a specific gimmick.
And you're stuck. Mountains of stock that's basically worthless the second the tournament ends. That's a huge financial hit, obviously.
And when you're ordering huge volumes, quality control often slips.
Right, that's the second fear, exactly. Quality failure, but at scale. You're ordering maybe tens of thousands of things, often from vendors you haven't worked with extensively. One little flaw, a bad stitch, smeared printing, multiply that across the whole batch. Suddenly you've got a flood of bad reviews online, costly returns. It can really damage your brand.
Okay, that makes sense. And the third risk is kind of why we need Annie's insights in the first place, I guess.
It's just the brutal competition. Walk near any stadium, any fan zone, any convenience store.
Yeah.
And it's just dozens, literally dozens of identical metal keychains, cheap plastic flags, maybe those really badly fitting t-shirts.
The same stuff everywhere.
The exact same stuff. And the profit margin on that generic product, it's razor thin. You're basically just competing on who can sell it cheapest. You absolutely need something different, or you just get lost in the noise.
Differentiation is key. And the last risk, the one that can kill profits even if the product itself is okay and sells.
The supply chain. Stability.
Well,
Or rather,
It's
instability.
timing.
It's all about timing. If your fantastic product shows up 2 weeks after the semifinals, well, it doesn't matter how great it is, does it?
Yep, you missed the boat entirely.
So the challenge is finding a supplier, a manufacturer, who has actually proven they can handle these big volume, quick turnaround orders without dropping the ball on delivery times. For the World Cup, supply chain stability isn't just nice to have, it's like table stakes. Okay, so the big takeaway here is crystal clear. Success demands products that are 1, memorable, 2, stand out immediately, and 3, are easy to sell everywhere, stores, online, you name it. And this is where Sweetie's approach, Annie's approach, gets really interesting. They saw that the key differentiator had to be durability, but combined with real sentimental value
Okay.
and their specialty. Preserved flowers.
Wait, hang on. Preserved flowers. Let's pause there because when you say that, some people might think like dried dusty potpourri or maybe cheap soap flowers.
Right, good point.
What exactly is a preserved flower and why is this tech actually perfect for merchandise people might want to keep?
Yeah, crucial question. So preserved flowers are 100% real flowers. Real roses, other blooms. But they go through this pretty complex, high-tech process. It usually involves safe, non-toxic stuff like glycerol.
Okay.
And this process basically stops the flower's biological clock. They keep their soft feel, their vibrant color, that natural look, but for years, sometimes even decades. And they don't need any water or sunlight.
Wow. Okay. So they look and feel fresh, but they last like plastic.
Yeah.
but without the, environmental baggage.
That's
the emotional hook. That makes it a keepsake, not just a disposable bit of plastic.
Exactly. It immediately tells the customer premium quality, long-lasting. So now, let's look at how Annie Zhang took this core idea, this material science, and built 3 really distinct product lines around it, targeting different channels, different risk levels. All right, let's get into it. Strategy number 1, impulse and decoration. This is the fan flower car clip. Sounds like the entry-level item. It's brilliant for impulse buys, yeah. It's basically a small, quite elegant preserved rose. They use the national flag colors, obviously.
Right.
And it's mounted on this little clip designed specifically to go onto a car's air vent. They even have options like adding a little pod for fragrance or a tiny spot for a DIY message card.
Okay, but car clip still makes me think of, cheap plastic clutter.
Mm.
How does putting a preserved flower in it stop it from just being dust fodder after a month on the dashboard? Where's the genius?
Well, the genius is partly the placement, but mostly the material itself. Using that preserved rose instantly elevates it. It's not just another plastic doodad.
Okay, fair.
It really appeals to that younger fan demographic, the ones who like to accessorize their space, their car. And crucially, it's small. The size and the relatively low cost make it perfect for places with hardly any shelf space, but lots of foot traffic.
Like convenience stores, gas stations.
Exactly, airport shops too. And it's a winner online as well. Easy impulse, add to cart, or you could bundle, say, 3 or 4 different countries together in a little gift set.
Gotcha. Okay, moving up the scale. Strategy 2. High volume and cultural appeal. This is the knitted World Cup keychains. These sound like they're aimed right at those wholesalers worried about risk.
Yeah, these are designed for big promotional campaigns, large volume orders. They actually move away from the preserved flower here.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the focus shifts to getting that unit cost right down for massive orders. So they're these soft, kind of handcrafted looking knitted keychains. Think mini knitted bouquets or little soccer icons. But importantly, combined with distinct cultural symbols.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, so maybe a little knitted rooster for France, or bright knitted carnival masks or patterns for Brazil. Something instantly recognizable, but culturally specific.
Okay, I see the appeal. But why knitting and cultural icons instead of just, I don't know, printing a flag on a standard cheap keyring? Seems like extra effort.
But it's not just extra effort, it's smart risk management. The source material really stresses this. Adding those unique cultural bits does 2 things. 1, it makes the product stand out, makes it interesting, right?
Yeah. Differentiation again.
But 2, and this is huge, it offers a shield against potential copyright problems.
Because flags and official logos are heavily protected.
Super heavily monitored and litigated, especially around big events like the World Cup. By using these cultural symbols instead, you create something distinctive that's much harder for competitors to just copy directly, and you sidestep a lot of potential legal headaches. For a wholesaler ordering huge quantities, that's absolutely vital.
Wow, that's actually a really clever angle.
Yeah.
Okay, finally, the top tier. Strategy 3. Premium and collectible. The National Flower Keepsake Boxes. Who's buying these? This is the luxury level. Zero compromise. Think high-end, maybe larger preserved rose arrangements, again, using flag-inspired colors, but presented in a really premium box, maybe under glass.
Fancy.
Definitely. They add other decorative touches too, little miniature soccer balls, nice ribbons, maybe tiny flags, all designed to look like a permanent display piece.
So why would, say, a corporate buyer pick this instead of a nice branded cooler bag or, an expensive pen set?
Because it communicates something different. It signals genuine, lasting appreciation, not just ticking a gift box.
It's aimed squarely at corporate buyers who need really memorable, high-value gifts for important clients, maybe executives, key partners. And because the flower lasts for years...
It stays visible.
Exactly. It sits on a desk or a shelf or a mantelpiece for years, acting as a constant, subtle reminder of the brand or the event. It blends that national pride with real collectible value. You just don't throw away something that beautiful and long-lasting.
Right. But designing these things, the preserved flowers needing care, the custom knitting, those potentially fragile glass boxes that must put a massive strain back on the manufacturing side.
Huge burden, yeah.
It can have the world's best design. But if the factory messes up or the shipments are late, especially with that short World Cup window, the whole thing collapses.
Absolutely. You need rock-solid stability. Sweetie Gifts has been around 16-plus years, so what makes them reliable? What are the pillars holding up this whole strategy?
Yeah, what makes them a safe bet for buyers? Okay, pillar number 1 is what we've been talking about, that differentiated design. They don't just make what you ask for. They actively create designs that solve that core retailer problem, how to stand out. They do it by blending the national colors, the cultural icons, and that unique preserved flower artistry. Okay, design is key. What's pillar two? The foundation.
Stable supply chain. This is critical. Their reliability isn't just wishful thinking or based on one factory. They've got proven capacity spread across multiple facilities.
Redundancy.
Exactly, which means they can handle those sudden surges in demand. They can manage the huge initial bulk orders, and they can cope with those last-minute quick turnaround requests when a client suddenly realizes, oops, we didn't order enough.
That kind of flexibility must be gold for corporate campaigns, which can shift direction based on how the tournament's going.
Totally.
And that ties into pillar number 3, customization capabilities.
Uh-huh.
Especially for those higher-end corporate clients, they need more than just off the shelf. Sweetie can handle specific logo branding, design totally custom packaging, even do limited edition runs tailored precisely for a specific campaign or a particular country's taste. Okay.
Yeah.
Design, stability, customization. What's the 4th pillar? You mentioned something earlier that's becoming essential, especially for getting goods into places like the US and Europe. Yes, the 4th pillar, eco-friendly solutions. This isn't just a nice-to-have anymore. It's practically a requirement for entry.
Right.
Compliance. They're proactive about using recyclable, sustainable materials in their packaging.
Huh.
This is massive for meeting those really strict import standards in Europe and the US. You, as a buyer, absolutely cannot risk having like 100,000 units stuck at customs because the packaging used a banned chemical or some non-recyclable plastic. Working with a supplier who already has that compliance baked in just removes a huge potential headache.
Massive risk mitigation.
Yeah. Okay, let's bring this all together for the listener who's maybe trying to lock down their World Cup strategy right now. How do these 3 different product series actually help minimize that inventory risk and hit the right sales channels? Sounds like Annie was very deliberate about who each product was for.
Oh, extremely intentional. So, look, if you're an e-commerce seller battling it out in that super competitive online space where margins get crushed,
Yeah.
or you're a wholesaler trying to manage inventory risk carefully, you need products that stand out but don't cost a fortune up front. So those lower cost, high impulse items, the fan flower car clips and the knitted keychains, that's your sweet spot.
Makes sense.
They're also perfect for the physical retail spots like convenience stores or fan shops, purely because they work on impulse and don't take up much precious shelf space.
Right.
But that leaves the big question. Where do the fancy keepsake boxes fit? They're definitely not sitting next to the chewing gum at the checkout. Absolutely not. Those keepsake boxes. They are aimed exclusively at corporate gift buyers, the ones who need and will pay for customization and that premium feel. And also at department stores or maybe high-end gift retailers who need unique upscale designs that fit their overall luxury brand image.
So by targeting different channels so specifically, they avoid getting into a direct price war with all the generic stuff flooding the mass market.
Exactly. It's a targeted approach. So the conclusion seems pretty undeniable then. To win at World Cup retail, your products really need this blend. Fan pride, sure, but also cultural identity, real usability, or keepsake value. And critically, it all has to be backed by a supply chain that understands compliance from the get-go. It's about creating something that genuinely lasts longer than the memory of the final score.
Yeah, a souvenir that's not disposable.
And connecting this back to the bigger picture, for any retailer, wholesaler, e-commerce seller listening right now, the time to look at these kinds of new, non-generic options, it's literally now.
Don't wait.
No. If you wait until everyone else is locked in their product lines, the competition will be insane, the unique options might be gone, and you'll likely be stuck fighting over the same generic inventory with paper-thin margins. That short sales window, it's closing faster than you think.
In this whole deep dive, it's really underscored how compliance and sustainability aren't just marketing fluff anymore, are they? They're fundamental requirements for doing international business, especially with these big events.
Absolutely non-negotiable now.
So thinking about that intense focus on eco-friendly solutions just to meet U.S. and European standards, it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How is this growing demand for higher environmental standards going to fundamentally change the speed, the cost, the whole structure, really, of supply chains for all these kinds of short window, high pressure, global retail events in the future? That's maybe something interesting to chew on as you plan your next big move.
That's a great question. A really powerful thought to end on.
Thanks for tuning in for the deep dive. We'll catch you next time.